Welcome to the Fall River Public Library and to another book club of the month. And to start off our story time, we have a very special lady right here. Her name is Mrs. Honey. And Mrs. Honey has this fabulous hat, as you can see, with ribbons and shells and flowers in it. But this hat won't remain so for very long, as you see in this story, Mrs. Honey's hat. Mrs. Honey had a hat. On Monday, she wore it when she took her grandson Peter to the park. She brought him some bubble gum, and she sat on the bench knitting. Peter thought, oh, those feathers. Those feathers would make my arrows fly better. So he pulled off the feathers and he stuck his bubble gum on the hat instead. But Mrs. Honey did not notice. On Tuesday, Mrs. Honey wore her hat to visit a friend. They sat in the garden in the shade of a tree and ate cakes. Some birds flew down to pick up the crumbs. Oh, those cherries look so good, they chirped, and they flew right off with them. And then they replaced them with some bird eggs. But Mrs. Honey did not notice. On Wednesday, Mrs. Honey spent a day on the seaside. The sun shone and the water was just right for paddling. Mrs. Honey felt very, very happy. Afterwards, Mrs. Honey took off her hat and sat in the sun. That shell would make a nice new home, thought the hermit crab. So he scuttled away with the shell and he left some seaweed. I'm going to have to do that again, I'm sorry. Afterwards, Mrs. Honey took off her hat and sat in the sun. A hermit crab thought, that shell would make a nice new home. So he scuttled away with the shell and left some seaweed in its place. But Mrs. Honey, she did not notice. On Thursday, Mrs. Honey picked up some dandelions to make some wine. It was very hard work. She took off her hat and put it on the fence. A cow in the field saw the hat on the fence. Why, what a beautiful big buttercup, she mooed. And she took a mouthful of those buttercups. And as she did so, her bell slid from around her neck onto the hat. But Mrs. Honey did not notice. On Friday, Mrs. Honey went to see an old castle. Just look at those cobwebs, exclaimed Mrs. Honey. This place could do with a good cleaning. A big black spider dropped onto her hat. "Hooray!" he said. "This lace will make for a fine, strong cobweb," he thought. So he hurried away with the lace and left some old webs behind him. But Mrs. Honey, she did not notice. On Saturday, Mrs. Honey took her cat to a cat show. There were all sorts of fine cats, but she hoped that hers would win first prize. An alley cat saw Mrs. Honey's hat through the window. "Meow, that ribbon might help me to win a prize," he thought. So he pulled the ribbon from her hat and left some fish bones there instead. But Mrs. Honey, she did not notice. On Sunday, Mrs. Honey went to church. Everyone seemed to be staring at her. "Whatever can it be?" she wondered. "Perhaps it's time I bought a new hat." After the service, Mrs. Honey hurried home to look in the mirror. Then she noticed the bubble gum, the eggs, the seaweed, the bell, the cobwebs, and the fish bones. "Goodness!" she exclaimed. "I've got a new hat." But she wasn't sure she liked it. And that's Mrs. Honey's hat. I don't know about you, but I think her hat is kind of fashionable.
I'm Madison Sirois, the children's assistant here at the library, and today I'm going to be reading The Baby Who Stayed Awake Forever by Sandra Salisbury. In the light of the moon, a little baby lay fast asleep. Ha, yeah, right. Not this baby. Sleeping is for koalas and teenagers. This baby intended to stay awake forever. At 8 o'clock, Mama said, "Good night, sweetie." Papa said, "Sweet dreams, little one." Sister said, "See you in the morning." Baby said, "Ga, ga, ga, ga." Baby yelled as loud as she could, "Ga!" just to see if anyone would come in to say goodnight a second time. At 9 o'clock, Mama gave Baby a binky. Sister gave Baby a binky too. And another, and another, and another. Not even 17 binkies were enough to make this baby go to sleep. At 10 o'clock, Papa collared Baby. Baby explored the inside of Papa's nose, and Papa's eyelids, and Papa's mouth. She found a dangly thing at the back of Papa's throat, but he went back to bed before she could do anything to it. At 11 o'clock, Mr. Neighbor yelled, "Is that baby gonna stay awake forever?" Ga, ga, ga. Baby was thrilled someone finally understood her plans. So she continued singing the song of her people, just for him. At midnight, no one came to check on Baby, so she decided to do some climbing. She was an excellent climber because she practiced every night. Baby could climb up things. Baby could climb over things. Baby could whump, whump, bump. Wah! Mama cried, "What happened?" Papa cried, "My poor baby." Sister cried, "Oh no." Baby just cried very loudly. She didn't enjoy falling. However, she did enjoy a captive audience. So she kept crying for a very long time. Until Papa gave her a binky, and Mama gave her a cuddle, and Sister gave her a kiss, and Mr. Neighbor gave up on sleeping entirely. Look at him down there in the corner. Which was probably for the best, because at 1 o'clock, Baby threw a dance party. Look at Baby go. And then at 1:15, Baby jumped 50 times in a row. Or 100 times. Nobody knows, because babies can't count. At 1:30, Mama tried to cuddle with Baby again. But awake Baby doesn't need cuddles. At 2 o'clock, Baby laughed at a joke only she understood. Ha! At 2:15, Baby yelled a bit. Ah! At 2:30, she laughed at her own yelling. Ha ha ha! 2:45, more yelling. Ah! At 3 o'clock, Baby's eyes began to blink. And in the darkness, she saw a whole universe of glittering stars. Exploring the wonders of the universe was the perfect thing for this baby to do, because in space, no one can hear you scream or sing or throw a dance party. At 4 o'clock, Mama carefully lowered Baby into the crib. Baby let out a small sigh, but stayed fast asleep. Ha! Yeah, right! Not this baby! At 5 o'clock, the sun came up and Baby was ready to greet the day and get dressed and eat breakfast and sing some songs and go to the park and pet a dog and lick a pine cone and chase a stranger and sit in a box and drop cereal in the car, just as soon as her lazy family woke up. The end.
Well, right around the corner is Easter, so I thought it would be fun to do an Easter story. And in this story, Little Mouse meets the Easter Bunny for the first time, but she's not exactly sure what she's looking for. So let's help her out in Little Mouse Meets the Easter Bunny. And there she is with her basket. Easter was coming. Little Mouse and her daddy were on their way to the mall to meet the Easter Bunny. And there she is. "What does the Easter Bunny look like?" asked Little Mouse. "I don't know exactly what he'll look like," said Little Mouse's daddy. "But I know he'll have long ears, a fluffy tail, and big feet. And he will be furry too," said Little Mouse. "Are those the Easter Bunny's long ears?" asked Little Mouse. "Maybe that's the Easter Bunny. Let's take a look." No, they were not the Easter Bunny's long ears. It was just a balloon. Is that the Easter Bunny's fluffy tail? Asked Little Mouse. Ooh, let's take a peek. No, it was not the Easter Bunny's fluffy tail. It was cotton candy. Are those the Easter Bunny's big feet? Asked Little Mouse. Those are pretty big feet. Let's check and see. Let's pull aside the newspaper. No, they were not the Easter Bunny's big feet. But when she spotted something soft and furry, Little Mouse was sure it was the Easter Bunny. Let's see. You think it's finally the Easter Bunny? Let's take a peek. And she was right. Thank you, Easter Bunny. Little Mouse rode on the carousel with the Easter Bunny. A special egg for you, he said. Here you go, Little Mouse. Happy Easter, Little Mouse. Why, thank you very much, Easter Bunny. You have a happy Easter too. And so do all of you. Thank you very much for listening. If you enjoyed these stories, there are more like these waiting for you at the Fall River Public Library. Drop by and check them out.